Hi, welcome to Videos and Presentations That Don't Suck. My name is Tom Snedeker and I'm an instructional designer at the Center for Innovative Teaching and Learning, and I've been working in media production for a little over 35 years. This first video in this series is going to take you through the basic planning, shooting, and post-production process of making a simple video on your own with your own equipment. There'll be more videos to come, so stay tuned. Thanks! By the end of this video, you should be able to recall some of the best practices for planning a video, how to create a storyboard or a production plan, to recall some of the best practices for media production, and then to be able to execute a production plan or a storyboard based on all of these best practices. Okay, we're going to start off with the worst part of this whole process, which is planning. Planning is not fun. It's tedious and can be hard work, but if you do a good job in this step, your chances of making a video that doesn't suck go way up. Here you can see a sample of a storyboard that I got from a template that I found on the internet. You can just Google storyboard template and you'll come up with several thousand examples. If you can't find one you like, contact me and I'll find one that works for you. At the top, you can see that there's a picture of what the shot should look like. It has who's in the shot, what the background is, how the shot is framed. If there's multiple people or action in the shot, you want to depict that. This one is an actual picture. It can be a stick drawing. It can be any kind of graphical representation of what your shot should look like. Below that, you can see that there's a script. It has what is being said by everybody in this shot. That little paragraph there takes about 15 seconds to read. So you want to time all these things out and notate the time that it takes to read the script and how long that shot should be. Below that, you'll see notes that has the location of the shot, what kind of lighting, any props that you want to use, any action that's going on, and how the shot is framed, or any other notes that are important for the creation of this shot. So you've got a good storyboard or production plan together, you've written a nice script, and you think you're done with the planning process. Nope, not yet. You need to prepare all the people, including yourself, to be ready to go when you hit record on your camera. The first step is to prepare yourself by reading the script. Read over it multiple times. If you can memorize the script, that's awesome. If not, be able to memorize small chunks of it at a time, so when you go to shoot, you can shoot longer takes without having to stop and edit and do all those things that you have to do when you got multiple takes. I recommend against trying to tape up a script on the wall or put it on the table in front of you, because if you look, you can see my eyes if I'm reading something off the wall or looking down on a table. It's not as engaging as talking directly into the camera. A teleprompter shoots right through the camera lens, so if you're reading from a teleprompter, you're looking straight into the camera, and that works a lot better. But you still need to practice. Most people aren't great at reading from a script right off the bat and making it sound natural, so work on it. Also, you want to dress appropriately for your video. If you're shooting a very formal sales pitch or something like that, you want to dress more formally. If you're doing something more casual, dress more casual. If you have multiple people in your video, you want to make sure that they all know what they should be wearing when they show up. You don't want one person showing up in a tank top and shorts when everyone else is dressed in suits and ties. Also, you don't want everyone wearing the same color shirt, or you look like you're wearing some kind of weird uniform, and that doesn't always come off well in your video. So make sure everyone knows what they should be wearing when they show up. And with video, you want to avoid clothing with really tight pinstripes on them, because that creates that weird psychedelic effect where it looks like there's a light show going on your shirt that you probably don't want in your video. It causes distractions and doesn't really work. If you're using any props, you want to practice using the prop on the camera. And so you can see I'm showing this microphone here and holding it up so you can see it. Turn it one way or the other. You want to make sure you know which way to show the audience whatever it is you're showing them, and practice with it. It seems like an easy thing to do, but on camera you want to make sure you get it right, and so that everyone can see what you want them to see. Okay, now it's time for the fun part, actually making a video. The first thing you're going to need is some sort of a camera. Most people own multiple digital video cameras these days. The best one you probably own is your cell phone. Most modern cell phones, the reasonably new iPhones or Android phones, have 4K video cameras in them that all shoot a pretty nice picture. The next best quality camera most people have is the camera that's in your tablet, whether it's an iPad or a Galaxy of some sort. The worst video camera most people own is the web camera that's on your laptop or your desktop computer. The reason for these quality differences is that cell phone companies market their phones based on the quality of the camera as one of their main selling points. Computers do not. They market their computers based on how fast it processes things, what games you can play on it, and things like that. So best quality camera is probably your phone, unless you are not lucky enough to own a DSLR camera or some other standalone video camera that can shoot video. Okay, I'm going to show you a little demonstration on the difference in quality of your cameras. Right now I'm using a Panasonic 4K video camera that's probably about a $3,000 camera. It shoots a really nice picture. I'm going to toggle over to the webcam on my laptop, and you can see that the video is a lot more grainy and the picture just isn't as nice. Use the best camera you can. For some videos, if you're just talking to the camera and not having to demonstrate stuff, the webcam on your computer is probably okay. And if it's all you got, then it's all you got, and you make the best with what you have. If you're having to do demonstrations where you want people to see actual detail and things, the nicer the camera you can use, the better. Okay, once you have decided on what camera you're going to use, you want to make sure that you have a reasonably well-lit space to film. If you have a nice light kit, that's great, but I intentionally shot this video at home using just the lights I have at home as an example. There's a chandelier above me and a couple of lamps off to the side that's providing my light. The main thing with lighting is that you want to have a reasonable amount of light on the front of you so that you can see your face. You definitely do not want to have a window behind you or off to the side that's casting a lot of light. So what happens is most cameras have an automatic light sensor in them, and they'll sense the brightest light in your room and adjust to it. And if there's a window behind you and adjust to that, you look like a silhouette. And unless you're in the witness protection program, you probably don't want that kind of video. So make sure that if you have a small space to film in, shoot it away from your windows. Also, if you live on a street and you have open windows, even on the side or behind the camera, that as cars go by, the sun bounces off those cars and go into your house, and it changes the lighting in your house, and your video will get dim and bright and dim and bright. Well, every time that happens. So try to avoid those. If you can shut your shades and control your light, you're better off. Okay, now we're going to talk about the most important part of your video, and that's the audio component. If the people can't understand the things that you're saying in your video, it's going to suck. You can have a Marvel action movie quality production with crappy audio, and you're going to have a sucky video. So we're going to work on some ways to get the best quality audio, and the best thing you can do is to be as close to your microphone as you can. I'm about a foot away from the microphone that I'm using. It's one of these guys, which is a large diaphragm condenser mic, which is a pretty nice microphone. But being closer to it is better than being farther away. So what happens as you move the microphone farther away from your voice is that the sound of your voice bouncing off the walls and windows and floors of your room become more prominent in the recording, and you want to try to get as little of that as possible. If you've ever walked the halls of Kyle Hall and listened in those hallways and how cavernous they sound, that's not what you want in your video. It makes you hard to understand, and it's not ideal. Also, this is the microphone that I'm using for this video. Microphones have a front, a side, and a back to them. They pick up differently. You want to face your microphone, front of your microphone into your voice so it gets the nice, clearest representation of you speaking as you can. If you turn it around backwards, it'll still pick up your voice, but it's bending around the microphone, so the low frequency sounds tend to bend around and hit this diaphragm and pick up, whereas your high frequency sounds tend to move past it and don't record. So you don't want a bassy sounding voice or a thin sounding voice. If you have your microphone on to the side of your voice, you want it nice and clear and direct. I recommend against using headset microphones just because that microphone is right in your mouth and it picks up a lot of mouth noises that are kind of annoying. And for certain people, that's really a trigger for them. They hate that sound. So try to avoid doing that. Also, you look silly wearing headsets on your video. Unless you're an air traffic controller or something, you probably don't want to do that. You also want to try to control the noise in your room as best as you can. If you have a fan or an air conditioner that's making a lot of noise, turn it off if you can. If you have a roommate in the room, ask them to leave. If you have pets, do what you can to keep the pets from making noises in your room. Having the quietest space to record is best. Okay, now we're going to talk about framing your shot. We use what we call the rule of thirds to line up your shots, which means you divide up your screen into a grid using third lines going vertically and horizontally. We do that first for aesthetic reasons because it tends to make for a more pleasant shot if you have shots balanced in that way. Also, there's a practical reason. If you're using on-screen graphics or anything like that, then it gives you space to do that in a way that's also looks relatively aesthetically pleasing. I'm going to try to overlay a third graphic over the top of us in real time. So if you can see, you want to generally try to get your eyes as close to that upper third line as you can. That being, it gives you space on the top so your head's not chopped off or you're not so low in the shot that you look like that 3-year-old kid sitting at the grown-up table at Thanksgiving. If you have multiple people in a shot, you want to put them on opposing thirds. That gives you a nice balanced look to your shot, and they're not so close together that it looks weird or so far apart that they're shouting at each other. Okay, now we're 2/3 of the way done. We did our planning phase where you wrote your storyboard and your script and you prepared your props and your people to be ready to shoot. Then you chose your camera in the production stage. You figured out your lighting and your audio and your framing and you shot your video. And now that you have your video shot, now you need to do a little bit of editing. At a bare minimum, even if you just got through the video all in one take and you're just talking to the camera and that's all you have, the last thing you want in your video is it to start with your hand reaching to turn it on, and at the very end, reaching to turn it back off. Just trimming those beginnings and endings to right when you start talking makes a big difference. Dead space is bad in video. If you've ever watched a newscast where the guy's like looking at his papers and not realizing he's on air, and it usually is maybe a second or two, and then he realizes, oh my gosh, I'm on TV, and then starts talking. It's like I said, it's only usually a second or two, but it seems really painful on television. And it's the same thing with your videos. You want to cut things tightly to when you start talking or when the action starts. You don't want to have any of that dead space. So what we can use for that is our editing programs, which here's one that we have available to us as Radford University faculty, staff, and students. This one is free for all faculty and staff. And most of our computers in our labs have this program on it for students to use. It's a professional video editing program, and you can see here's the program layout. At the bottom is where you do most of your work. It's the timeline. If you see at the very bottom there, the green bar is some background music, and then above that is the narration of our speaker, and then we're into the video levels. That bottom blue bar, that long blue bar is the video of our speaker, and those little boxes, the pink boxes are still images, and the blue boxes are different video clips that we used as other footage. In Adobe Premiere, you can add up to 99 layers of video and audio, which is a little overkill, but it allows you to stack a bunch of things on top of each other depending on what you need. There's also, if you don't want to do anything very high tech and you've got a pretty simple video to edit it and you've already put it into My Media, My Media has a simple video editor. If you look down at the bottom of this screen, there's that bar with those two little orange tabs on either end. You can grab either one of those tabs and drag it to trim off the beginnings and endings. And in the middle, where that blue box is, you can see that little scissor tool. You can cut pieces out of your video and delete them, and it'll automatically, magically stick them back together. So you can do some pretty simple video editing using that tool. There's also some free tools available to you. One is, if you use a Mac computer, is called iMovie. which comes on the operating system for all Macintosh computers. If you're using a PC, you're in a little worse condition because there's not a really good video editor that comes with the PC anymore, and the one that did wasn't very good to begin with. But there's a free program called Blender that's available to Macs and PCs that works pretty much like most professional video editors, and it's free. It's not as nicely laid out, but it works really well. So there's some free stuff for you to use. If, like I said, if you're faculty or staff at Radford, then you have access to load Adobe programs on your computer, and you can get Premiere. If you're a student, you can go to one of our labs. There's labs all over campus that have this program loaded on it already, and you can do your video editing there. The reason we do this video editing, like I said earlier, is that you don't want your shots to begin and end with your finger reaching for the record button. Also, we make mistakes, and if you can cut out some of those mistakes and stitch them back together, that makes your video a lot better. And also, you want to eliminate dead space. And especially if your video has any action shots in it or multiple people, there's likely to be some stuff that needs to be cut out. So editing your video is vitally important. So most of our editing programs that we use is non-destructive editing, which means you're not doing anything to that original video clip that you shot. You can delete it in the program, you can cut it into lots of little pieces, and that file still stays on your computer in intact form. But also what this does is when you're editing a video, once you have your video edited and you save the program and whatever, you have not produced a video yet. All you've done is produced editing sequences for the computer to know what clip to play from what time to what time and what audio to go to and things like that. You need to publish that video. So most of them have either export or share or publish controls on them to publish your video. I recommend, if you have options, to publish them to MP4 videos with H.264 compression, if you can see those. Sometimes it just says MP4, or sometimes you get no choices and you just get what you get. If you're going to be loading your video into MyMedia is pretty friendly with pretty much any video type. Keep in mind that video files are huge. An hour of high definition video is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 gigabytes in size. So you're dealing with very large file sizes. So make sure that you have space on your computer or an external hard drive that you have access to, so that you make sure you have room to store all this video footage. I've got probably 20 terabytes of video on different hard drives in my office that I've backed up over years of being here at RU. So it stacks up quick. So external hard drives are great. So I recommend getting one, a nice fast one, a USB 3 or USB-C hard drive. Should work well enough for you guys. If you have any questions about that process, let me know. And then you're going to need a place to put your video. Whether you're just loading it on a shared hard drive for other people to watch, or if you want people to be able to watch it online, you need to load it onto some kind of video server. We have several available to us. In D2L, there's MyMedia, which is a good streaming video server that is secure inside D2L. So if it's videos that you don't want to wind up ever out in the public, that's the best way to ensure that. If you record your videos to Zoom, then it automatically ports all of your videos from the Zoom cloud into MyMedia. If you've recorded onto your computer, then you'll need to upload it into MyMedia. There's also services like YouTube and Vimeo that allow you to upload video and share them with the public. I like using YouTube mostly because it does auto captioning. So you want to have all your videos captioned, and that's a good way to do it. You can download those caption files, and even if you've uploaded the same video into MyMedia and you don't want to play it from YouTube, you can add that caption file to your MyMedia file, and we have some instructions for you guys on how to do that. I prefer the streaming video servers rather than, if you just insert a video onto a web page, a lot of times it just loads and plays. It's a lot nicer on your users. If you're using a streaming server, it only buffers 10 or 15 seconds on either end of the video. And It also senses the connection speed of the user and will serve up the appropriate definition video based on their connection speed. So if they've got nice Ethernet high-speed internet connection and they can handle HD video, it'll get them an HD video. If they're on a slower internet connection, maybe standard definition is all their computer can handle. So it customizes the viewing experience for your user. It also, even with larger videos, it taxes your internet less if you're using a streaming server. And also, it's harder for someone to try to hack in and download your video and do things to it and share it around if that's not what you want them to do. So that's publishing your videos. Okay, last and probably most important is that you have help available to you. The Center for Innovative Teaching and Learning has multiple members of our staff as well as our student interns that are experienced video editors and that can help you get through this stuff. So come look us up and I'll get you our email address. We'll put it here on the screen. Our offices are in McConnell Library. Room number 271 is where our main office is. You can email us. Our main office email is citl, C-I-T-L, @radford.edu. That goes to our assistant director, John Hildreth, and he'll pass on questions to the appropriate person. Also, we have a media lab. We have editing machines in there that are available for anyone to use between our hours of 8 and 5 on Monday through Friday when we're open. And we also have this really cool studio where you can shoot your video. I'll show you a picture of it. Here you go. It's got multiple backgrounds. We have a black, a white, and a green screen background. We have lighting. We have cameras and microphones. And we have people to help you do this stuff. We have a teleprompter and a few other things that you can use. So if you want to shoot your video and have some assistance, at least while you're getting used to the process, come see us, email us at citl@radford.edu, and we're happy to help. Okay guys, thanks for watching. This is the end of the first video in the videos and presentations that don't suck series. There's going to be more videos to come. Wherever you found this, I'll find a way to reach you and get you the other ones as they come out. If you have any questions, email me and I'll put my email down at the bottom. It's tsnediker@radford.edu. I love talking about this stuff, so email me anytime and I'd be happy to chat with you. Thanks a lot. Bye.